It was just another quiet evening at Miller's Steakhouse, a place where the town's heartbeat seemed to pause for a while, where the scent of grilled ribs and sizzling steaks filled the air, and laughter blended with the clinking of glasses. No one could have imagined that night would turn into a scene people would talk about for years. A man named Jack, a single dad and veteran, sat at a corner booth with his young daughter, Lily. To most, he looked like an ordinary father just trying to make ends meet. He wore an old jacket, a few patches still sewn onto the sleeves, reminders of a past he rarely spoke about. Across the room sat Chief Daniels, the respected police chief of the town, enjoying dinner with his family. Daniels was tough, stern, and known for being sharp, the kind of man who never missed a detail. But on that night, while carving into his steak, something caught in his throat. His face turned red, his eyes widened, and he gasped for breath. At first, people thought he was joking, until his wife screamed. The entire steakhouse froze, the laughter turned into silence, and fear filled the air. Jack noticed before anyone else. His instincts, honed by years in the Marines, kicked in instantly. He pushed Lily's plate away and whispered firmly, "Don't talk. Stay here, sweetheart." His voice carried a weight, not just to his daughter but to the entire room. The crowd parted as Jack rushed forward, his boots hitting the wooden floor hard and steady. He didn't hesitate. He didn't panic. He wrapped his arms around Chief Daniels from behind and performed the Heimlich maneuver with precision and force. The restaurant was silent except for the desperate choking sounds until suddenly, a piece of steak flew out, landing on the table. Daniels gasped, coughing hard, his face drenched in sweat but alive. The entire steakhouse erupted into applause. People stood to their feet, clapping, some with tears in their eyes. Chief Daniels turned slowly to look at Jack, still catching his breath. Their eyes locked, and Daniels whispered with a shaky voice, "You saved my life." But Jack only nodded and said, "Just doing what anyone should do." He turned to check on Lily, who was still in her seat, her little hands clutched around the edge of the table. She gave him the bravest smile, the kind only a daughter can give when she sees her father as a hero. Yet, what shocked everyone wasn't just the save, it was what fell out of Chief Daniels' pocket when Jack pulled him back. A folded envelope, sealed but torn in the commotion, lay on the floor. Jack instinctively picked it up, and before Daniels could reach for it, the paper slid open, revealing photographs of something the town would never expect: corruption, backroom deals, and evidence tied to men everyone thought were untouchable. Gasps filled the air again. Daniels froze, his face pale, not because of the steak anymore, but because of the truth that had just spilled onto the floor in front of half the restaurant. The chief's voice trembled as he bent down to pick up the papers, whispering, "This isn't what it looks like." But the eyes of the people in that steakhouse said otherwise. Some looked confused, others suspicious. Jack stood still, his hand on Lily's shoulder now, protective and steady. He could have exposed Daniels right there, but instead, he leaned close and said in a low, firm tone, "Don't talk. Not here. Not now. Think about who's watching." It wasn't a threat, it was wisdom. Jack knew how quickly truth could be twisted, how fast chaos could spread. Daniels stared at him, torn between fear and gratitude. In that moment, he realized Jack wasn't just a veteran who saved his life, he was someone who understood the cost of silence, the weight of responsibility, and the burden of carrying secrets for the greater good. Jack didn't demand thanks. He didn't demand explanations. He only demanded Daniels use the second chance he'd been given, not just the second chance at life, but the second chance to do what was right. Over the weeks that followed, whispers spread about that night at Miller's Steakhouse. Daniels began cracking down on corruption inside his own department, facing enemies both in and out of uniform. People wondered what had really happened that night, why Daniels seemed like a changed man. But Jack never spoke of it. To him, it wasn't about glory or recognition, it was about showing his daughter what it meant to stand tall, to protect, and to choose honor even when no one's watching. Lily would sometimes tug at his sleeve and say, "Daddy, everyone clapped for you that night. You were like a superhero." Jack would smile, ruffle her hair, and say, "No, sweetheart. Real heroes aren't the ones people cheer for. They're the ones who do the right thing even when nobody claps." And that's the story that grips hearts to this day, a single dad veteran who, with 3 words, saved not just a life, but a man's soul. Friends, if this story touched you, if it reminded you of the power of courage, silence, and doing the right thing, then hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. More stories like this are waiting for you, stories of honor, sacrifice, and the hidden heroes living among us. Because sometimes, the greatest lessons come from the people we least expect.